Okay, so that's what we've been dealing with for the past 2,000 years. With the belief, the age of belief, which is the age of Pisces. At 2012, we had just exited that main influence of the age of Pisces, where there are schools of thought, where there are flocks, where there are sheep, where there are are cattle. We hear lots of references to that in the language where people are called sheep and where they call goyim, etc., based on the principle that these people who are in mass, as in the word Christmas, these people are being led by somebody who's supposed to have some level of knowledge of what their season is about and how they relate to it. Now, historically, over the past 2,000 years, we've been focusing on the attention being put on an external savior. Okay, when in actuality, the external savior that we should revere but not worship would actually be the sun itself. Okay, and we can see that the sun has kind of been hijacked, and turned into a human, anthropomorphized figure that has been put in front of us to say, hey, we have to give our emotional energy to this external being that we've put in this place. Okay, so they've actually placed this being in history to kind of displace nature, to displace your nature, which is directly linked to the sun. Okay, so all of these things we have to really take into consideration of what we're doing. What are we really doing? And see, when you put things outside of yourself, things can be manipulated and they're out of your hands. So when you're born into something that's out of your hands, you have no other choice but to believe. Now, there's nothing wrong with belief. Belief in its proper context would be something that is necessary it's a temporary state that you're in until you find out. Okay, so any group, any person that encourages ignorance or belief as a permanent state of being is someone to be suspect of. Okay, because we're designed to know all things because we contain the whole blueprint anyway. Okay, so with that in mind, if we contain the blueprint anyway, all we need to do is connect the dots. If we could connect the dot specifically of the sun to our heart. Okay, and look at how all of the Christs of the ages, okay, those that came before Jesus, you have your Mithra, you have your Krishna, you have your Buddha, you have Heru himself, or Heru itself, because let's be correct about this. Heru is a feminine and masculine principle, and so there was a time where feminine societies, okay, and this is found in mostly African cultures, feminine societies made up the honor of praise, to direct societies, and direct the growth and maturity of people's spiritual life. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind. So let's see where I'm at here. I have to see. Okay, so we were speaking about belief, and belief in its proper context. Belief has to happen because none of us know everything. And being that we don't know everything at any given time, we have to have a level of belief, but that belief is based on the resonance or the frequency of what we're feeling in our centers. Okay, there was a time where I was able to draw out the chakra centers, and let me see, maybe I can move this out of the way so that we can see. 1, 1 second, we can actually see these chakra centers. So this would be our root chakra, and then we have the second chakra, third chakra, as a result of the combining of the two hemispheres of the brain. Of course, we went over this in the Het Heru series, so be sure and go to my link and review the Het Heru series, where we talk about coming from a position of gathering information, from the physical realm, and then putting it together to prepare ourselves for the action, the actionable, dissemination of knowledge. Okay, so right now what we're dealing with is a stage that we're trying to achieve. Am I there? Probably not, but that doesn't discourage me from getting there. And so I want to encourage everyone else who may be aspiring to go all the way up the tree to reach their perfected state. Perfected means balanced. Okay, it's not what we've been taught perfection is, where you make no errors or no mistakes and so forth. But what it is a consistency in the will to be balanced. That's perfection. So if you're consistent and persistent in your will to be balanced, you will be perfected over time. So just to kind of give you a sense of time as far as the evolution of consciousness, I'll review at the root where you're born is ages from 0 to 6. Then we go up to age 6 to 12. Okay, and then from age 6 to 12 to 12 to 18, this is where we're starting to become adults here. Okay, that's if we're given the proper information, proper diet, the proper environments. Okay, and once we do that, we're enabled to synergize that energy and form the base of this pyramid right here. Okay, so for those of you who have seen the pyramid with the eye on top, we can look at this, because this is the area where Heru, or the king, is actually placed, or one ascends to the throne. Okay, when they've mastered the gathering of knowledge, and they know how to dispense the knowledge to help those who are coming after him. Okay, so the generations that are coming after him will be able to be taught the high principles, or the high information that he's acquired from the many thousands of years of the information that's been made available to him or her. Okay, remember that feminine societies began first. Okay, so we know that Heru is both masculine and feminine, and once Heru gets to this point, Heru is able to, once he's mastered the lower realms, which is the physical realm. Okay, if we were to look at this a little bit, we can actually see that there is, if we can make this into a head of a skull or a cranium, we can see that this has the correspondences of the skull. The left and the right hemisphere of the brain, etc. The midbrain, or the mammalian brain, and then you have the medulla oblongata, which governs the automatic reflexes and so forth, the impulses, of hunger, thirst, survival, fight or flight, etc. So once we get up to here, we're at the center of the hourglass. And so those of you who may be familiar with Sevan Bomar, when he talks about the hourglass, this is shown here in the Paut Neteru. Okay, and we can see that this hourglass is really the further expansion of consciousness of the king, okay, or the queen. So when the king or queen is seeking wisdom in order to disseminate information for the upliftment of society, and the generations to come, he has to consult with the wisdom of Sophia, which is Maat. Okay, it has to consult with the intelligence or the mastery of justice, of Herakahuti, and then he also has to consult with the wisdom of Tahuti. This is the stilling of thoughts. Okay, this is where there is no thoughts here at the top, and that would be in part 2, where we'll be able to go to the very top of the tree where the actual as above pyramid is. Okay, so this is just the as above pyramid on Earth. This is the as below on Earth. Where you have people that are growing. Okay, so in an ancient traditional society, what we would see this as, with these age brackets, from 6 to 12, 12 to 18, you're having a massive amount of knowledge. That should tell us something about today. Okay, today we are barely functioning with the knowledge base of 6 or 12-year-old at our best. Okay, so we have to actually go into some of our historical records, going back into our cultural communities to meet those elders who still carry the wisdom. Okay, this is the only way we can really go up in our knowledge and in our ability to tap into higher states of consciousness. So we'll be able to go into some of the other aspects where he goes into Seker to get the words of power from the ancestors, and that kind of thing, and then ultimately balance those two to become one with Osir, the Most High, and ultimately merge into the perfect black. All right. So this kind of wraps it up as far as the tree of life, but I want to still go into some of the personality traits of Heru all the way from here. So we're going to do just like we did with the other Sephiroth, with the other angels, or the Neteru, and we're going to go into Heru and what personality, the psychological, physiological aspects of Heru. That way we'll know how to address the rest of this season as we approach springtime. Okay, so let me check my notes and see where we are.